All right. So another question that I get asked a lot, all the time during phone calls, emails with prospective clients is, how does the band work in terms of the personnel, the singers, the musicians? Do you guys have like a set band, or is it kind of like a big roster of people and singers? And that's a great question. I'm going to answer that for you guys. Mod Society traditionally is a set band. Okay, actually, we have several bands. They are promoted as a set band, which means that it's usually the same people. Now, there's some level of volatility naturally because human beings are the way that they are, and people either get sick or they have emergencies, or maybe they change their career, or maybe they just want to take some time off. So there's all of that. Also, the nature of booking a band a year and a half in advance, I can't actually, even begin to guarantee who's going to be around. I can kind of give you a guess of who would be, but so if you book Mod Society, I can tell you, especially if you're like within a year, I can tell you pretty much who it would be, the core band and the singers. So for example, right now I'm booking clients for 2023. They're asking me who's around, who's going to be there. I'm telling them that the lineup for every wedding, it gets solidified in January and February of every year, pretty much. Sometimes March, it goes into March and April if it's a later wedding. But usually, if your wedding is in 2022, the lineup is being solidified right now. And I probably already told you, I gave you a good idea of who's going to be on there. So for example, right now, we have a current roster of singers, and in alphabetical order, they are Bellamy, Kenny, Elliot, Lindsay, Renee, Shadrach, and Ziara. Okay, those are the main singers in the roster. Some of them perform more than others. Some of them are more available to Mod Society. Some of them are more available to other bands. So that's another detail about this whole thing, is that everybody in my band plays in other bands. Some of them play, let's say, 90% of the gigs with Mod Society. Some of them just play maybe 10% of the gigs. It depends. In some years, they fluctuate. They do more with some band than the others. The reason is because Mod Society, we have like 50 weddings in a year or something like that. We don't have 80 or 100 weddings. So in order for people to really fill up their calendars, especially if musicians want to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or throughout the week, right? They need to play with other bands to make that, to fill up the blanks, right? Mod Society does not take every single client that comes their way. I don't book everybody. It's kind of select. It's like around right now 50. I think we maybe went over 50 one year. I'd love to go into the 60s and 70s, but again, I'm going to be taking on clients that maybe aren't the best fit for us. So I'm very careful about that. I really just enjoy working with people that are aligned with my tastes and my personality, right? And the community that I've grown here. So we have about 50 weddings a year, 50 gigs, and the musicians, they work with other bands, and they're everywhere, right? Some people work with like 6 different bands. So it's a big puzzle that gets pieced together. It takes me months. It takes me usually 3 to 4 months. Sometimes it takes me like 6 months to put together the whole, every piece, every person in the band, who's going to be here, who's out on vacation, who's out on tour, who is like here ready to work, who in the band is going to go to their best friend's wedding, right? Because we go to weddings too. We get invited. And sometimes one of the singers in our band is part of the bridal party of another wedding. And so there's all this stuff, right? So it gets solidified January, February, March of every year. But I can give you kind of an idea of who's going to be around. So generally with couples that ask me these questions, I say, take a look at our roster, take a look at all of our videos. If you're happy with any 3 of the singers that you see, any combination, then you should book Mod Society, right? If you're hung up on one singer and you absolutely have to have that one singer, even if it's a singer that I can tell you that probably they're going to be on the gig. But if you're like really hung up on them, and if they're not available, you're really disappointed, then I wouldn't book Mod Society. It can't be that kind of black and white situation where you're going to be really upset. Also, it would put a lot of pressure on me, right? And I don't want that kind of pressure. So generally speaking, you got to be okay with every singer in the roster. And I'll send you photos and videos and things like that. And just by looking at the videos on our website and on Instagram, you're going to get a good feel of the talent. They are all absolutely incredible. They're so talented. I mean, these people, they're doing things that I can't believe they're even doing. The singers, vocally, the range, they all know all the repertoire. That's the other thing. It's not like some singers. I have a couple of singers that more they can do a couple of rap verses, for example. But we don't specialize in that. But they can do that. Or I have some singers that have a kind of a wider repertoire in the 90s, within the 90s realm of that. But again, that comes more into like you're getting more into specializing. And but everybody knows a handful of 90s songs. Everybody knows the Motown repertoire, the disco hits, the Dua Lipa and the Rihanna, all that stuff. Everybody knows it. So that's why they can switch in and out. And that's how musicians in the wedding industry work. They have to know all the repertoire because they swap around between bands to jump around, and they need to be able to execute all those songs. Even the male singers, they got to know some of the female songs, and vice versa. A lot of the times a Stevie Wonder is sung by females and they rock the house. So that's a little bit of an insight of how the roster works, the singers, the musicians, same thing with the rhythm section and the horns. They bounce around all over the place. The Mod Society, our flagship band, we've been together for over 10 years, and it's the same guys. It's pretty much the same guys. Every now and then our drummer will go on tour. So I'll have our other drummer. We have like 3 or 4 drummers in the roster. They just drop in, bam, they execute, and it's incredible, right? That's how it works. I know that a lot of people don't understand, especially non-musicians, how bands work out. We think of the Beatles, and it's always the same, right? They don't swap members out. Red Hot Chili Peppers, although actually some bands really do go through rotations. Red Hot Chili Peppers, for example, they've been through a lot of guitar players, for example. So there is some of that, but we're not so used to that. So totally understand that question. I hope this has helped you. Feel free to shoot me any questions via email. Let me know what you guys have in mind. If you have any favorite singers or any musicians that you see, I might be able to do something about that.